That's the thing. Now I got turned on with the 115. That was the sound that I was looking for.
Well, I gotta just say one thing about all this basement stuff. You know, to me, as I get older, I want to play quieter. To tell you the truth, you know, and all those basements came into play basically because of Rod. When I first started playing with him, he had a Sano amp, you know, accordion amp, the one that has the like tiger stripe grill on it that goes around the corner. You know, those 115 and like an 8 or 4 in there. It's a accordion amp, right? And it sounded like $1 million bucks. And I played through a TV Front Pro, which I traded a 2-hole basement for, because it was such a great sound amp. And I regret it. It was a 48, so it was a field coil, which I never knew anything about field coils. But there's a magic thing when you get a 15, 18 watt amp through a field coil. The guitar really acts like a guitar when it's you know, just responds. You know, take for instance, if you listen to music, I'm going to give you guys something to look at. Go to classicjazzguitar.com. And there's anybody hip to it? Okay, there's a sidebar once you get on there, and it has all the guitar players of any kind of recognition from 1920 on. And I haven't heard of half these guys. You know, Bernard Addison, and you know, the list goes on, right? Irving Ashby, you know, there's a lot of guys I have heard of, but there's a lot of recordings on there that I could never afford to buy. At 78s, it costs $350, $400, right? And what they do is you go up to the top on that site, and there it says recordings, history, you know, there's options, right? Well, just hit recordings, and it'll show you records, or song titles, I should say. Then it'll show the record label, and then you scroll down, and if it has a musical note on there, you could hit it and it just plays the solo, and it's fantastic. And I never get tired of going to that, because I always just find something that they either put up new or. But anyway, my point is, when most guys in the 30s and 40s had one amp. There was one amp to get, the Charlie Christian, or actually I should say Gibson, but there was 2 amps, the 150 or the 185, which I have both. Right? Greatest sounding amp in life. Quiet, but gets a tone at a low volume, and the Charlie Christian guitar. Every guy sounds fantastic. Not only do they play great, but they sound fantastic, and that's because of all those 3 elements.
So you just
nowadays, there's all kinds of too many options, man. I mean, you know, it's hit and miss. You know, one guy might play great, but he doesn't sound great because the guitar doesn't sound like it.
Right, right. So do you think we've gotten away? You know, the amplifiers gotten too complicated.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? My point is, everybody gets so loud that, you know, it becomes something else.
Right, right, right.
Yeah, but that one night over Boomers, when you played out of Kirk's rig, you sounded completely different from Kirk.
Well, I mean, everybody's got their own touch and style. I'll give you one on that one. The first time I saw Freddie King, they had him cranked so loud through the PA, I couldn't even really tell it was him. You know, and then all of a sudden, the PA just went out, right? And there it was. It sounded just like the Hideaway, the original version, you know, when he wasn't cranked through the PA. And then he broke a string, so the other band had a Stratocaster there. As soon as he picked that Stratocaster, he immediately went like this. He rolled back on the tone, and he sounded exactly like himself on that Stratocaster. So it's what you want to hear in your head. You can make it happen pretty much with any guitar.
Right, right.
Through a good amp.
So I guess the bigger thing is why do we keep on looking for cool guitars and amps?
Because it's fun, man. It's fun. You know, fun. Guitars are like women, man. You can't get enough of them.
I'm glad my wife's not online too.
And one thing I got to say, growing up in the hippie days, I've worn out 2 heads with this body.
What's funny is I saw actually a webcast of a show you did a couple weeks ago, and you were playing a white Stratocaster and some other, and it was on the gear page. It was there's a West Coast blues thing, and someone said that you were using somebody else's gear completely, like you were borrowing a complete set of gear.
I was in Florida, so that's actually Scott. Oh, by the way, I had a great time. This guy, Scott Cable, good friend of mine. He was the producer of the last record that Nappy Brown played on. He asked me to record on that session. And what's the guy's name on there? What's his name? Sean Costello. Unfortunately, he died shortly after that. Was also on the session with me. And he goes, hey man, would you come down to Florida? And I go, yeah. But you know what? It's getting to be a drag with airlines, certain airlines. Oh, this brings up another point. I got to tell you this story real quick. The Stratotone is about the smallest. If you put it in a gig bag and carry it low, it pretty much looks like a tennis racket, right? Because it's got such a small body on it, and it fits in every overhead bin on any plane. Well, that's not the point. The airlines are trying to get money from you to try to take, or just take the guitar away from you just to harass you. So about 3 or 4 years ago, Delta is one of the worst for that kind of thing. So I was over flying out of John Wayne, and I come up there, and I actually had the gold top, the Tokai, that looks like a real Les Paul. So I thought of this at the spur of the moment. I don't know how I came up with it. The lady goes, sir, you can't take that on. And I go, could I speak to a supervisor? She goes, yeah. So here comes this guy, and I go, what kind of car you got? He says, a Lexus. 22,000 bucks? I go, this is a $40,000 Les Paul. I'm lying, of course, right? I go, let me borrow your car, but I want you to sign this waiver saying that I'm not responsible for anything, any damage or you know, if it gets stolen. And he's looking at me like this, and then I go, I'm going to smash your car to bits. How do you like that? And he looked at me. He knew exactly what I was talking about. Because as soon as they take that guitar, you're signing a waiver. You may not. I know many guys have not seen their guitars again once they have it to the airlines. There, you? 2 of them. See, there you go. So I refuse to do it. If they won't let me take that guitar on, I don't fly. I said I'll just go home. But I'll be on YouTube harassing you. Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Shoot, we had another story I forgot. We segued, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. I'm sorry.
You're in Florida.
You're heading for it.
You were in Florida.
Sean Costello.
Oh, Sean Costello. Okay. I lost my whole train of thought with.
You're talking about the white guitar. That's
yeah, it just sounded great, and it was just because they said it was like a
Don't tell
Squire.
him that. He's gonna know. You know what that is? That was a Squire. And,
Yeah.
you know, Hollywood Fats like the Squire too. He called me a couple times. The Squire has these pickups with a magnet on the bottom. They're the early Squire, not the ones they make now.
Yeah.
So it's not like a regular Stratocaster pickup where the poles are actually the magnets. The magnets are on a big plate on the bottom, kind of like a P90 magnet thing, right? So they're unique pickups within themselves, and it actually was a pretty cool guitar sounding, but the strings are about that high in the air. And I was just going, God dang, you know, I was trying not to flub up, but couldn't help it.
So, you know, I'm thinking about, you know, the genre of blues today. And I know you go over to Europe quite a bit, and I was not super aware, I am now, of all the great young guitar players over in Europe. You know, one time I was playing with 2,000 pounds of blues, and you canceled on the gig or something like that, so they hired me, which is good. I'm glad I get called. But anyway, there's all these Swedish guys come walking into the club thinking that you're going to be there. And the first thing they do is see me, and they start saying Kenny Anderson, and all. They start speaking, I don't know, whatever.
Was it Knockout Brand?
Yeah.
What a great band. I got to say this one thing. When I first started going over there to Europe and Scandinavia, we actually had a hit record in Finland. We did a record called Start to the Finish. And, you know, it was a rigged deal, of course. You know, it was a pop star woman, Maria and Hanu. You know, they were a couple. And she was a huge disco queen in the 70s, and she decided she's going to be a booking agent. So basically, she saw us, and she goes, this is the band. So we did a record, and we had, you know, it only took 22,000 sales in Finland to have a gold record because of the population, right? So we rode that to death. I mean, we were just over there in Finland, Norway, Sweden, and all the other countries, Germany. We went everywhere. But at that point, hardly any bands could really play true blues. I mean, everything was really heavy. You know, bands like Jimi Hendrix Revisited, you know, we'd play with, and I'm thinking, wow, is this all they got? Everybody's just way too loud, in England especially. And then, after watching us, I'm kind of proud that we had some sort of influence on a lot of stuff, because now there are some deadly bands. Every musician, especially guitar players over there, killer, every country.
Yeah, I know, you see. Well, you guys should go to Europe. They'll be respected. Go, man, I want to go and compete in that market.
We're competition over there.
So, as far as today's state of blues and performance, you know, obviously it's not getting any easier for us to go out and make money playing music. Is there a healthy blues scene in yours, do you think?
Well, I mean, it depends on what kind of level you want to get on. I mean, you could go over there and work forever. You might not make a whole lot of money. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like here. There's different levels of gigs. You know, there's the $50 gigs, which I refuse to do one. Then there's the $100 gigs. I might do a few, but I want to make $200 at least tonight or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So over there, you could go over there and do that. But I make a lot of money.
Okay, so I'm not going to ask you about that $50 gig tonight, man.
I'm watching the UFC tonight.
Oh, cool. That sounds like a good idea.
Okay, I gotta go. I'm gonna go over here to this place right over here.
Oh, Cherry Pit?
On the rocks.
Oh,
I
okay.
think I'm gonna have to find somebody with an iPhone to figure out, like, you know, where it's at.
Right. Do we have any questions from the audience here?
Please.